Hi, my name is Dave Johansson, and this is Blossom Hill Crafts Pottery School. This is a demonstration for beginning potters to show you how to shape your first cylinders. So I have in front of me here a short, stout cylinder made out of 2 pounds. Something like what you might get in your first weeks of pottery. If yours doesn't look quite like this or this nice, that's okay. But once you have a cylinder and you've learned to throw a cylinder, there's only 2 shapes that you can make. One of them is this, or like that shape, a backward C, and the other one is the other direction. So you can do that or that, and that's it. If you think about it, a bowl is just half of that first shape. That's all it is. So I'm going to take this little cylinder here, and I'm going to turn it into a bowl. I want you to notice that when I threw this cylinder, I left the rim nice and thick. Bowls like to have a little bit of thickness at the rim. It helps them keep their shape, and it also helps when you knock it on your faucet in your sink that you don't crack it. And as we stretch the pot out, as we stretch the bowl out, that rim is going to get narrower. So the weakest part of my cylinder is right here at the bottom. And the reason that that's weak is because it has to support all the weight. The next weakest part is right up here at the top, and that's because it's not connected across the top. The strongest part, and this is maybe a little counterintuitive, is right here in the middle of the cylinder. So when I'm making a bowl, I'm going to start in the middle of the cylinder. Now, my left hand always goes inside. I put a little water on there because I threw this a while ago. If you've just thrown the pot, you really don't want to put water on a cylinder when you're shaping it. My elbows are in, my body is up, and my left hand is on the inside. If you're throwing right-handed, then the wheel's going the other direction, and it's exactly opposite of that. But I'm right here. I'm right at the center of the pot, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to push a little bit out with that finger, and then I'm going to pull with my 2 fingertips up and out this way. So I'm just using my fingertips. So I've got the wheel moving at sort of a medium speed. I'm going to take my foot off the pedal so I don't speed up and slow down. I'm pushing out. Can you see that? I just pushed out just a little bit. And now I'm pulling up and out. Now a lot of people teach beginners to throw a bowl with a rib. I don't do that because I think it's so important to learn how the clay will move, and you can only feel that in your fingers. Now when I first pushed out, I pushed out here. I'm going to go right about here. I'm going to go just a little bit lower, not all the way to the bottom. And I'm going to push out again. And I'm going to pull up and out. So on the inside, I'm using just a couple of fingertips, and on the outside, I'm using 1 fingertip. I'm not using the side of my finger like that. What that does is create drag. If the whole side of my finger is touching the side of that bowl, it creates drag, and it makes it difficult for the clay to move. The clay wants to get out of shape, out of round, right? But I'm just gently pushing. I'm using a little bit of strength, but I'm moving slowly. Now I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom, and I'm going to push out, and I'm going to come up. And there we go. There we go. I'm just going to do that again one more time. Pushing up and out as I go, just like that. Now I'm going to pop this off of the wheel here real quick so you can see it. And what I want you to see is sort of this curve. I don't want a bump here. I want a nice continuous curve. And I got that curve by pushing out here and just bringing my finger up. As pushing out there, pushing out here, and bringing my finger up. My left hand is on the inside. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to round the bottom just a little bit. All right? I'm going to round the bottom by compressing this clay on the inside. Kind of like when we threw the cylinder, the way we compress the clay at the bottom of the cylinder. I'm going to just get this back into round. I'm just going to come with my hand and compress the bottom a little bit more If your bottom is too thin, you can't do this, but if you've left a little bit of clay down there, you can kind of do that. And there we go. I have a nice bowl. This is perfect size for me to have some ice cream, and I just love that. So that's shape 1. So as I was saying, when you're shaping a cylinder, you could do this or you can do this. So I've done half of the first shape. I'm now going to complete that first shape. I'm going to put another cylinder on the wheel here. And this one is a little bit taller and a little bit narrower, but the same amount of clay. And I'm going to put a little water on there, only because I threw this a little while ago. If you just throw in the pot, don't put any more water on there when you shape. What I want to do now is I want to bring this shape out like that. I want to kind of give it a little bit of a bubble, starting down here at the bottom. Now, if you remember, I said the clay is very weak right in here. So if I push out real hard here at the bottom, the whole pot's going to just drop. I need to very gradually push an arc out there. Very gradually push an arc out there. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to work with my left hand on the inside, just my fingertips. I like to use 2, sometimes 3 fingertips. Not the side of my finger. Just a few fingertips right there. My right hand is exactly the opposite of my left hand. And what I'm doing is I'm giving myself something to push against. This right hand, there's a little bit of positive force there, but not much. The action is this way. So I'm kind of bringing that clay out and up. And you see how I'm just creating a nice little belly in there. You see that? Just like that, a nice little belly. So that is, I'm now taking this shape and I'm turning it back that way. All right? Now, I want to exaggerate this straight up and down and move it in just a little bit because I'm going to make a small, like, creamer. And I do need to put a little bit of water on the pot for this. And I just want water on the outside of the pot. I don't want it on the inside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my left hand against the outside of the pot. And I'm going to squirt the water against my hand. And that's going to send the water down the outside without letting it get on the inside. Just like that. I'm going to take my fingers like this, turning this knuckle in. And my hands are going to be on both sides of the clay. It's going to touch here, here, and here. So here, here, and here on both sides. I'm going to speed the wheel up. I'm going to push in lightly and move up. All right. So now I brought this around and I brought it in here. We call this right in here. I just lost the word. There's a word for this, and I just lost it. Well, for now, we're going to call it bringing the clay in. Just right in there. So now I've got this little shape right here, and what I'm going to make is a small creamer. So in your first pots, it's good to make something that you have to put a handle on so that you learn to make a handle. So when I go to do this, I'm going to put 2 fingers right here on the outside of the pot. I'm trying to do this in a way that you could see it. And 1 finger on the inside of the pot, like this. Now, it seems like I should push this finger in like this to these fingers, but I don't. I'm going to keep this finger inside of the pot steady, and I'm going to push this finger to it, and then I'm going to pull this finger up. So it's just like that, and these are going to go in. So I push in, and I pull up. And I can re-emphasize that if I want to, and come down. And there we go. I have a small creamer, and when this pot is leather hard, I can put a handle over here, and there we go. That would be a second shape that we can make from, I can't get my screwdriver out of here, it's too big. There we go. That would be a second shape that we can make from a cylinder. So now I have a third cylinder here. And what I want to do with this third cylinder, this again is 2 pounds of clay, and I've thrown it a little taller. And when you're able to get your cylinder a little bit taller, you're going to be able to do this. You're going to be able to put both of those shapes in there, the whole thing, and that makes a nice flower vase. So again, my pot's a little bit on the dry side because I threw it a while ago, so I'm putting a little water on there. But when you shape, if you've just thrown, you certainly don't want to add water. I'm going to do the same thing. My left hand is going in on the inside like that. I'm just touching the clay with my fingertips right here. Just touching with my fingertip on the outside. I do not want to use the side of my finger. And I'm going to make that nice little curve going up. Okay? So there we go. We've got a nice little curve in there. You see that? Now, I'm going to put a little water on the outside of the pot. Again, putting my hand there. A little water there. Collaring. That's the word. My fingers are going to go like this again. I'm going to start down on the belly of the pot, down here. Pushing in, not even really at all, but I'm sort of easing into pushing harder in here. And I'm going to just gather that in. So now I've got a shape going that way, and I've got one coming back. And I'm going to come back in here and just refine my shape. So now I've got this curve and that curve. So those are the basic shapes that you can throw your beginning cylinders out of. Everything builds from this point. First learn to throw your cylinder, then start working on your shapes. I'm Dave Johansson. This is Blossom Hill Crafts, and thanks for watching. Bye now.